Okay, welcome back, everybody, to Your Confidence Unleashed. In this summit, we are talking about how to break through limiting beliefs to own your unique magic, unleash it into the world with unwavering confidence, and create the life that you've always wanted. So, today we are so blessed to have Sarah Porter with us. Sarah is the queen of all things marketing, and we're just so excited to have you here, Sarah.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here and be a part of this summit. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. It's these conversations have just been so incredible. And I know that this one with you is going to be equally incredible. So very excited. So we just want to give everybody the most value-packed conversation possible. So they will be able to find you later and learn more about you and your story and everything. But for the sake of time and value, can you just tell me in like 2 minutes or less, who are you and what is the difference that you're making in the world every day?
Sure. So I have a marketing agency called Porterhouse Marketing. And really what I do is I work with small to medium-sized businesses, and I really help come in and kind of act like an outside marketing department for them. Most of the businesses I work with, I work directly with the owner or like the owner and their kind of second in command. And oftentimes they know they need to market, they know they need to be better at it, but they don't necessarily have the bandwidth or the expertise to do that. So I really come in as an advocate for my clients to make sure they're spending money in the right places, to make sure they're spending money to get the results that they need. And I'm really an advocate for them in terms of making sure that the decisions that we're making are going to benefit the business and not something that is just going to kind of lead them down a different or wrong path or not actually get the results that they want. Additionally, I'm super involved in my community, on boards, volunteering, being a part of different organizations that I think bring a lot of value to everyone who lives here. So that's a really big part of the work that I do as well, and a big part of kind of where my heart lies.
Yeah, I have no idea how you have time for it all. Like reading your resume is impressive.
Well, they always say if you want something done, give it to a busy person, right? So that's
Oh,
one of the things is I love to be busy and changing tracks and being adding value wherever I can.
so awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so around the theme of this summit, which is all about confidence, I would
Mhm.
love for you to tell us a little bit about your confidence journey, right? So
Sure.
in starting a business and just in life in general, it doesn't necessarily have to be about business, but it certainly can be. Can you just tell us about a time when you felt really, really low in terms of confidence? Like you were just feeling something just came up and kind of knocked you down, and you just felt like you were totally drained of confidence. And then
Sure.
from there, maybe take us into a time where you felt on top of the world, really, really
Mhm.
confident, like that you could just take on anything that came your way. So just to really show like that contrast
Sure.
of your confidence journey, if you will.
Sure. No, absolutely. So I think the best example I can give is sort of a one and the same example. And we can go back to kind of what the catalyst was for me starting my business if you want that sort of punch of confidence as well. But I do a lot of guest speaking for training specifically within agencies around communication training, that kind of thing. And then I've also had the opportunity to be a TEDx speaker. And I came with this idea that we say never a lot of times because we are either afraid of something or we don't have enough information, and it kind of protects us from exploring the path that we want to go down. And if you've ever seen a TEDx, usually it's an expert, subject matter expert, someone who's written a book, a researcher, that kind of thing, or it's someone who is talking from their own lived experience.
Hmm.
I was talking from my own lived experience because I had said that I would never start a business. I had said that over and over and over and over and over again. And really why I was saying it is because I was terrified of the notion of doing it. And if I was like, I'm never going to do it, then no one's going to ask me about it. I'm not going to be challenged on it. I can put myself in a little box and like live there very comfortably. But when I finally did decide to do it, it really became to light why I had said that and why a lot of other people say never. So it developed into this whole talk situation.
So
Well,
good.
when you're going through I'm sorry.
So good. I loved that.
Okay. So when you're going through the experience of being a TED speaker, there's a lot of kind of prep and training. You have a lot of feedback from various people. And so we had gone through this for months, right? And a lot of the feedback was good. A lot of the feedback was devastating. You know, you're thinking, oh, I have kind of this imposter syndrome around it. And then I get up to do my dress rehearsal, and this is full dress, like you're off book, you're in the clothes you're going to wear on stage, you're in front of kind of probably 30-ish people that are part of the program on a stage at UNR, and you're just trying to, you know, deliver this in the best way possible. And then they gave you sort of that final round of feedback. So I was going through, did it, I thought I did great. I was like, okay, I did, you know, I said what I wanted to say. We go through, most of the people are, you know, giving like little tiny pointers or compliments and stuff. And then there's this one woman in the back, and she goes, so do you research this? Have you written a book on Never? Are you an expert of any sort in any capacity? She was just really like coming at me. And my sister was there, and my sister kind of filmed me so that I could like watch myself later and see where I needed to change things. And my sister was like, I could just see her, like she was going to cut this lady. She was like, you know, like leave my sister alone. And I'm on stage like, oh my God, like dying. So I felt about this big. And then thankfully the person after her was nice and was like, well, you did a great job. This is your learned experience. But it shook me so badly. Like I am days away from going on stage in front of 2,500 people, plus it's being recorded, plus it's going to be sent everywhere. And wow. I was just like, who the hell do I think I am? I'm not a researcher. This is just my lived experience, but who do I think is going to care? Just spiraling, just stinking, spiraling. So I ended up going and, you know, doing the talk. It went well, all these kinds of things, but I just like hid it in a little box. I didn't talk about it very much. I didn't broadcast it very much for 2 years. So this was in 2019. Nope, 2020, February 2020, right before everything went shut down, like not doing anything, right? Yeah. So then of course everything kind of like goes into a bubble and a box, and you know, nobody knows what's going on. And I just kind of like didn't really show it light or anything like that, because I had all this like fear and trepidation around it and lack of confidence and everything else. So fast forward to end of last year, beginning of this year, my friend Shannon, who is a social media strategist expert, amazing. She and I were talking. She's like, hey, you really need to get your LinkedIn game up and going. You know, you've been doing Porterhouse, it's been great and all that stuff, but you know, you have to showcase your projects and showcase your accomplishments. And I had won a couple awards in there too that I hadn't put on there on my LinkedIn. I just, you know, it's a little bit of a cobbler's children have no shoes. I was busy with client work and just like didn't think to do it. So I'm like, okay. So I spent an afternoon and I got it put together. I got the awards, and then it came to like showcasing special things, and it was, I could showcase the TED Talk, and I was like, okay, fine, okay, I'll put it on there. Stop being a baby. So I put it on there, and within a week, I had a gentleman reach out to me who runs a company that only works with TED speakers, period. And he wanted to promote my talk, and he wanted to have more visibility around it. And he has a whole company behind him, super legit. He's done a TED Talk. He did a TED Talk from a learned experience, not an expertise standpoint, even though he's very accomplished and an expert in his respective field. It's like 4 million views and that kind of thing. He's written books. He started companies, like legit person to be speaking to. And I was like, I don't know. I am nervous about it. I'm not a researcher. I'm not an expert, you know, and I think I messed up here and there. You always nitpick yourself. I messed up here. I said the wrong word. I said you know, whatever. And he said, okay, can I give you the best words of advice around this? And I said, sure. And he goes, stop it. And I'm like, what? He's like, stop it. Stop getting down on yourself. Stop feeling bad about this talk. He's like, if I didn't think it was good, we never would have reached out to you. So you are your own worst enemy. Just stop it. And he goes, mostly when I work with speakers, they don't want to move forward with any type of like promotion or spotlight or highlight on this because they think they could have done better. And he goes, you just got to stop it. And that was a huge, like, yeah, what the, you know, is doing me no good trying to like pretend it didn't happen. It took so much work and so much vulnerability and so much effort to do that, you know? And so I was like, okay, screw it, let's do it. And that was a huge moment of like getting my power back, deciding I was going to celebrate this thing I did, not be ashamed of it, not get down on myself because I don't look perfect in every single shot, or I said an or I think I messed this up, or, whatever. And it's had so much great feedback and a huge positive response from it.
Yeah.
But it was a huge testament too, to me, of like, just don't be a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, that lady did not have to make me feel this big when I'm the one up on stage putting myself out there and doing that. And I'm saying my lived experience. And that's a big part of when these talks come together. There's just so much opportunity to build someone up or shut up, build them up or shut up. Like, it's just not necessary. And the impact that had when something more positive could have been attributed to the entire conversation is just astounding to me. So that was a big lesson for me in terms of like, just build people up or don't say anything at all,
Yeah. Or had she had something constructive for you that you could have actually done to make your talk better, but to just take the wind out of your sails like that. Well, and now, I'm sure you can look back and say that was just a reflection of her and maybe her fears coming up and her, having her own thoughts that she wouldn't be enough to do something like you're doing. And you must have been triggering something in her that she didn't feel good enough, but totally. I build somebody up or shut up. I love that.
Right.
But how powerful that man just said that. I mean, stop it.
Yeah, it was so simple. Just stop it. Yeah, okay. And it's so funny too. The simplest things sometimes are the best. Like, I had an art director that I worked with. I still work with him sometimes. He's wonderful. And he said the most amazing thing to me. He said, simple does not represent, simple represents clarity of thought. So simple does not mean easy. Simple represents clarity of thought. That's the full thing. And it's so interesting because it's true. A lot of times people look at something so simple and think, well, that must have been easy to do. But actually, you have to have a lot of clarity to narrow down to something's essence to make it really functional. The iPhone's a great example of that. I mean, there's many, many more. But when it first came out, just that single button on a screen, people were like, what? And it's just simplicity.
And it's
so stop it.
Easy.
It's the most simple way to tell you to just get out of your own way.
Like a sign on my wall, because how many times do we let the stories and all of that just run rampant in our heads?
Definitely.
So powerful.
Definitely. So
I would love to hear a little bit more about how confidence played into you actually starting your own marketing agency, because this is a brick and mortar business. Nowadays, online businesses are so common, and it's not to say that there's any, difference in terms of difficulty with starting a brick and mortar or an online business, but it is, I think, it's more rare to have the actual type of business that you have and the services that you offer in your community. So, I mean, to me, it just feels like that takes more courage, more confidence, maybe. So tell us a little bit about what that took from you and how you were able to step into your most confident self in that moment to do something so big.
Totally. So I've been in marketing communications for more than 15 years now, and always on the agency side. So in Marcom, there's agency and then there's in-house a lot of times. So your in-house is you're working for a big company and you're the marketing department within that team. And then there's agency, where you have kind of a diverse discipline of designers, developers, strategists, project managers, et cetera, that a company works with to do all of their creative marketing and advertising. I've always been on the agency side because I love it. I love the chaos. I love the switching clients every 5 seconds. I love the diversity. I love the challenge of all of it. So I've always been on the agency side of things. And then when I decided to start Porterhouse, what kind of gave me the confidence for that is I was leading a team of account managers at my old agency. I was responsible for all business development, all client satisfaction, growth and retention of clients, that kind of thing. My team was. And so, but I had been, like I said, in the industry for a long time. So I had all these relationships with designers and developers, strategists, copywriters, that kind of thing. So my sister decided 5 years ago, maybe a little more now, to start her own dental practice. And she's an amazing dentist, but she can barely open her email, and she will not be mad at me for saying that because she knows it's true. So she doesn't do the technology and the branding and all the business stuff that would go with opening your own practice. So when she decided to do it, she asked me to help her. And so I kind of on the side did all of the things for her. I did her branding, her positioning, what audience are we going after, all the copywriting for all of her services. I managed the creative direction for her logo, put together all of the strategy and content for her website. Then I pulled in various freelance designers and developers that I had relationships with to work on this project as well. And so we ended up launching with this fantastic brand, beautiful photography, great website, all of these things. And super successful right out of the gate because who she was going after really pays attention to that. And she does a lot of cosmetic dentistry as well. So so we have everything launched, and I'm sort of kind of thinking like, God, I think I could do this on my own, but God, that's really scary. And I keep telling people I would never own my own business. And so I asked my sister, once it was all launched, I was like, okay, I need you to be super straight up with me here. If I wasn't your sister, would you have hired me to do all of this for you? And she goes, oh my God, I have no idea what you're talking about half the time, but it sounds super duper smart and it's working. So yes. And so that was like, okay, like she was my training wheels, like, could I do this? Could I run this whole thing on my own? And so when I went to my husband and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to do this on my own. His first thing was like, oh, thank God. He was so ready for me to like, do my own thing and not be a part of like a larger agency and that kind of thing. And so that was my big catalyst for like, okay, I think I can do this. So she was my first client. And then I have outside of her, it's just kind of, it wasn't really by design, it just sort of happened. I worked with large healthcare systems for the majority of my career and small private practice, specialty practices. So I found this real niche in healthcare. And so I had a couple of the doctors I had worked with in the past come with me when I started my own agency. And then I only work on primarily referrals. So that means like if somebody's going to refer me and I like them and they're a good client, they're usually going to refer me to another good person and good client. Totally. So that I always work with people who are great and really love what they do and good people. So, but that was the thing that gave me the confidence, was kind of having that training wheels of like a full client, full brand launch, why I still had like the security of, the other being a part of a different agency. So yeah, so that was the thing that was like, okay, I think I can do this. I'm gonna do it.
That's huge. I mean, first, it says so much about you that you only work on referrals primarily, because I love that, because what you said, you get sort of control without really having control of who your future clients are. Because if you have the trust and the relationship with the current client, just sort of know that they're going to hang out in the same circles with the right people that you want to work with. So that's
good people. It takes awesome. That asshole factor down like a lot,
Yeah. And the asshole factor can be big.
Take it down instrumentally when you work on referral only.
Well, and I mean, so there's a theme here in all of these conversations that we're having inside of this summit, and I'm hearing it from you too. And that is that the action really needs to take place before the confidence comes into play. So many of us, I think, get caught up and we think like, if only I could be confident, if only I could have the confidence to do this, then I would do it. But what I'm hearing in like true life, real experience from all of you successful women, and from my own experience as well, is like, you have to do it first in order to get the confidence. And so you have to do it scared shitless.
Yep. That is my number one advice to people when they're like, well, what would you advise? I'm like, do the thing. That's it. do the thing, and then everything else comes along. So whether that's the thing is starting your own business, whether the thing is taking the trip you've always wanted to take, whether the thing is being a part of an organization that you really believe in, volunteering at a particular event, it doesn't matter. It's just do the thing and everything else will follow.
Oh,
Yeah, I completely agree.
so I mean, there will be people listening who will ask, okay, but how do you do the thing if you don't have
You figure it out, like you
the confidence?
know? God, I wish there was like a manual of how to do the thing. The biggest thing was surround yourself with good people. So one of the first things I did was I got an accountant to help me figure all of that stuff out. The first one did not work out. So I was like, nope, next one, I need somebody who knows agency. If you have what's been really helpful too, is if you have other women in your life who start a business or who's super successful, who you can just go and like, I'm scared, what did you do? Or you can just go and bitch to them or whatever you need to do. To kind of build your tribe. That's super duper important too. You don't have to be an island when you go out on your own. But yeah, there is no like, I don't have a 7-point plan how to do it. You just kind of gotta like get enough like leaning in. So say, okay, and then you do the jump and then you just do the thing.
Oh, but it so helps to surround yourself with other people who have done the thing to just tell you like, stop it and go and do and to know that they've done it too, right? And they're telling you like they're still alive. They didn't die from doing the thing. You're seeing their success. And I think
you can also do things like what we do, we authorize, which is an actual term, which means like if you don't know what's going to happen, you think about the worst case scenario and like you just build up this cloud in your mind. But if you take a step back and literally think, what's the worst that can happen? So I did this when I was starting Porterhouse. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? It doesn't go well. I still have a really strong resume of agency experience, proven track record. I can just go get another job. Like it's not, that's the worst thing. But of course I'm like, okay, if we have to do ramen and if we have, like doing all of terrible,
which like is fine. You could do ramen for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was like really think about what is the worst that can happen. And then can you make a plan? Because I'm a planner. I'm a big planner. So if I have a plan for like scenario ABC, I just sleep better. I just feel better. So if that's you, make those plans, and then that way, no matter what goes or how it goes, you can be like, okay, I thought of this, or I thought of a version of this or whatnot. And that can be really helpful in getting you unstuck.
And if you need the security, right? Because like you had your agency job while you were doing the work for your sister. So it was like you had that testing ground, you had that sort of trial run where you weren't just saying, I'm going to quit my job one day and throw it all to the wind and just like start from square one with nothing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah, exactly.
The planning for all of the planners and for the non-planners, like you still get to just go for it because and know that I think one of the other biggest fears that people go up against is, what are people going to think? What if I fail? What if I fall on my face? What do you have any experience or thoughts around that fear?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That's the biggest fear, is that, your ego gets in the way, right? Your ego, which is your sense of self, can really block a lot of the things from actually happening for you. So yes, I 100% face that fear. There was a lot of like, what if I fail? What if people judge me for what I want to do? What if I have to, I decide I want to go back into the workforce? What if I decide I don't like it? What if I don't like working for myself? What if I want to be back in a larger corporate environment? All of those kinds of what ifs and fears. And I don't have where I was just like, I don't think about it anymore. I still think about it, of course. I think everybody still thinks about it. It's always something that's in the forefront of your mind. But again, if you surround yourself with people who want you to succeed, and more often than not, people are rooting for you than they're rooting for you to fail. Like it's really rare that somebody is like, I hope she just falls on her face, like that is pretty rare. But if those people are around, then why do you just, they can be out of your life anyway. Like, who cares? You don't need to even have them around. So having people in your corner that can build you up and give you their experience and kind of have that shared camaraderie can really help alleviate some of those fears.
Totally. And I always like to remind myself that people are not thinking about us nearly as much as we think that they are. People have their own shit going on. Like, they're not sitting around all day long thinking about Porterhouse Marketing or Kelly's coaching business. Like, they've got their own stuff. So we might as well be living our own lives.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that whole it's none of your business what other people think about you. Totally. Right. That's another one of those things. And it's true. You can just obsess about that. And then you hold yourself back. It's you're doing no disservice to anyone but yourself by holding on to those fears from what other people say or the negativity that they put towards you.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love this. Sarah, if you could just if there are women out there, and I know there are, who want to start their own business, whether it be brick and mortar, online, whether it's marketing or something else, from your experience, if there are women out there who are just kind of on the fence and they don't know whether they're capable, they don't know whether they can do it, but they've got this kind of tug on their hearts, they've got this desire for a vision that's greater for themselves. If you could just really make sure that one thing lands with them, what would you tell them from your experience?
Two things. I think it goes back to what we talked about just do the thing. If you really have that drive and that thought of I really want to try this, or I really want to do this, then just do the thing. Get yourself a good kind of community or people that can either support or if they know what you don't know, so certain levels of expertise, depending on what you're trying to go into. And also know that things can change. It can morph and it can change. So what you originally think you want to go in and do, don't be so tight into that, because it can totally waver. When I first went in, I knew I wanted to do marketing communications for small to medium-sized businesses. I knew I had a little bit of a healthcare niche going on there, but I also have a ton of agency experience and a ton of communication experience. And in fact, I have several classes that I teach based on interpersonal communications, client communications, how to communicate clearly, those kinds of things. And those morphed because I actually had people approach me, I had agencies approach me once they knew I was a free agent and say, would you come into our account management team and would you teach communication skills? Would you teach how to properly scope a project? Those kinds of things. Would you teach how to communicate not only with teams internally, but also how do we get points across to clients and various other kind of topics that they were looking for. And so I developed these kind of teaching curriculums and workshops. I didn't think I was going to do something like that when I first started. I thought I was just going to do Marcom, So I embraced that, yeah, okay, I'll come in and, put these workshops together, and they've been really, really well received. Even during the pandemic, I did a couple of them that were virtual. But that was a totally different, okay,
yeah.
still my skill set, but it's not necessarily within the core.
Yeah, you were filling a need.
Yeah. And I also had other times where I would have different agencies tap me in to cover a maternity leave for an account manager, or come in and run an account if they were short staffed until it could be handed off to their project team. So kind of rolling with those punches, not trying to box yourself in so much. And then just watch how it eventually morphs and changes. And that's okay. That's okay. I would also say, have your business be what your vision is in terms of if you are doing brick and mortar or online, whatever it ends up being. But I had a lot of people ask me when I started, okay, well, are you going to hire? Are you going to hire designers and developers? You're going to do all these things. And my vision was always I wanted less stress in my life. The agency game is very, very high intensity, lots going on all the time, big teams, that kind of thing. but I've worked with so many great professionals who are really, really good at their craft, and that is their jam. That is what they do. So I really knew I could build a team with freelancers, which are, 1099 contractors. So there's no employees, there's no insurance for employees, there's no, there's none of the stuff that comes along with it. But yet I have this great team of amazing expert freelancers who I pick and choose and put on a team based on the needs of the client. And so when people were like, are you going to hire, are you going to do this, are you going to do that? And it was just like, no, that is not, I don't want a 50-person agency. I don't want that stress. I still like being in this stuff and like actually doing the work for the clients. I don't want to just kind of hover above it all and then have all this stress because I'm responsible for all these people's mortgages. Like that is not what I want to do. And it's worked. And I'm very transparent with my clients that way too. I'm like, hey, my team is our freelancers and I pick the freelancers based on your need. And so you get an expert team. You don't get a junior person.
Yeah.
And you get experts that come in. So, that's a lot of times too, people have a vision, they have a vision for your business and what you should be doing, but trying to really stick to like, why did I do this? And have a mission statement for why did you do it? Like for me, I wanted autonomy. I wanted to stop making money for other people and make it for myself and my family. And I wanted to be able to really work with great clients. And I wanted to have a lot of flexibility so that I could still have a very full life with my family. And so like that is always kind of like my driving force. Like, is this going to fulfill those things for why I started the business? And if it's not, then say no or move on. So yeah, so the first thing is just get the confidence to do the thing, surround yourself with the people who are going to help you do the thing, and then be okay if the thing changes. That is totally fine, and stick to your vision.
Oh, I love that. I love that, especially coming from you, Sarah, saying that you are a controller and that you want a plan and that you want all of those things, like saying that you have to go with the flow. That's just, it's more powerful, I think, coming from you than it would be coming from some hippie who's like, it's fine, it's easy. Like you're saying, no, I want a plan, and you get to be flexible and you get to allow it to change, just be open to whatever can come in.
Absolutely. Like have a plan and then a plan adjacent, like if somebody was asking me to do something that was completely outside of my skill set, then that's different. But if it's like in your skill set and you enjoy it and it can kind of fit under your business model, why not?
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Thank you for this conversation, Sarah. And you have a gift for our audience members as well. Can you tell them about it, please?
Absolutely. So I do a lot with digital marketing, primarily website design development. And what I see all the time is people come in and they just want to see pretty pictures in a website, or they just want to see it kind of up and mocked out. And to be successful when you're creating a website, there's a lot of steps that come beforehand that are specifically around content planning and how you want this website to perform and lay out. So what I've developed is a 7-point kind of worksheet that helps you think through the overall what and why of your website before you get to all the design type of aspect. And this can be used if you work with a company and you're redoing your website, or you're starting your own business and you want to do your own website or whatnot. These principles, it's more of a theory and a methodology about how you go about creating a website, not platform specific. So if you want to create on a Wix or Squarespace, I work primarily on WordPress, but you usually have to have a little bit of technical knowledge for that. But the overall planning process, so that you think through, how do I want the user to move through this website? What do I want them to do when they get there? What kind of content do I want to provide? Is it a video? Do I need custom photography? Do I need actual copy? Who's going to write the copy? All those kinds of things. So it really helps kind of give you a framework so that you can be successful in a web project.
Oh my God, that's huge. Because I think these companies that are out there now try to just make it so simple, like hop on Squarespace and you'll just kind of drag and drop. And it'll be a piece of cake. And if there's no thought and strategy behind it, that's so valuable. Thank you very much for putting that together.
Yeah, of course. And it's really valuable to if you're in the position of like a project manager, or you're like leading the charge on that, to help frame it up so that you're set up for success before you ever get into that design phase.
Amazing. Okay. So there's a
Yeah.
link around here where you guys can obtain that, and you guys will be introduced to Sarah's world and find out everything about her and be able to follow her and know what she's up to in the world. Thank you so much, Sarah. This was such a
Oh, thank
valuable
you for having
conversation.
me. Thank you for having me. This
Totally.
is awesome. And I really hope it helps a lot of women find their confidence and feel really good about their next steps.
It totally will. I know it will. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye.